just the biggest game of week 7 in the NFL. We got the Miami Dolphins taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, a lot of people that I've talked to have picked Miami to win this game. They feel like Miami has arrived. They feel like this team is most likely going to win the AFC this year. And for the people who are high on the Miami Dolphins, right, I want to give you a reason to kind of pause on your lofty expectations for this team, because anytime the Dolphins are in the primetime matchup, they fail to win a lot of them. The last time I saw this team in prime time, they got embarrassed by the Buffalo Bills. They got humbled by the Buffalo Bills. And then when they played against the New England Patriots, yeah, they won that game, but it wasn't convincing. It was a pretty tightly contested contest, and the New England Patriots are not a good team. So anytime the Miami Dolphins get put in these big primetime matchups, they fall short of being able to come away with the victory more times than not. Like, do you remember when they lost to the 49ers and they lost to the they lost to the Chargers. They got boxed by Brandon Staley. The Dolphins just aren't a great team when the lights are the brightest. Now, you're hoping that in this matchup, you're going to be able to change the narrative, and you most definitely can do that, because the Philadelphia Eagles are coming off the worst performance that we've seen out of them all this season, and many people feel like the Philadelphia Eagles aren't the team that they were last year. They've went through some changes on the coaching staff. They got a new OC and DC. Jonathan Gannon and Shane Steichen are now head coaches. And the Philadelphia Eagles, it looks like they kind of are struggling to find who they are as a football team. And then you got Jalen Hurts, who was hurting everybody last week with the 3 picks that he threw against the New York Jets. Like, the Eagles, this is a big game for them. Because if you lose this game, if you're Nick Sirianni, you kind of got to go in the mirror and ask yourself, like, who are we as a team? And for the Dolphins, you look at how this offense has performed. This offense is at a historical pace to break a lot of records. They currently right now are averaging 37 points per game, number 1 in the league. They're number 1 in yards per game, number 1 in yards per play. Like, this offense just is unstoppable at times. And I'm pretty sure that Mike McDaniel, Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Waddle, and Tyreek Hill are licking their chops going into this game, because you're going up against a wounded secondary. The Philadelphia Eagles, they've been in a couple of trade rumors for either a safety or another cornerback, because they've dealt with a lot of injuries. Like, Darius Slay is on the injury report. You got Reed Blankenship on the injury report as well. You also have guys like Jalen Carter who are banged up. We don't know if he's going to be able to suit up in this game. So this Philadelphia Eagles defense has dealt with tons of injuries up to this point of this season. And plus, this defense, although it's not bad, they aren't playing at the level that they were last season. Last season, this was one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the NFL. They were able to get constant pressure on the quarterback. Like, the Eagles that we saw last year are not the Eagles that we've been seeing this year. And that's okay, because every team isn't the same version of themselves that they were in the previous season. Football is a week-to-week, year-round, or year-to-year sport. You're not going to have one team playing at the same level every single year. Sometimes teams are going to drop off a little bit. But Jalen Hurts, he kind of has regressed a little bit. And right now, if we were to rank quarterbacks, I think you probably could put Tua over Jalen Hurts right now. Tua, say what you want to say about him not being the most physically gifted quarterback, not having the strongest arm, not being the most athletic, but he is really good in this Mike McDaniel system. And I agree with Mike McDaniel. Like, who gives a F about who's a system quarterback and who isn't a system quarterback? Like, as long as Tua Tagovailoa is playing at a high level and he's winning games, why the F doesn't matter? I agree with Mike McDaniel when he said that, man. Tua Tagovailoa, give this fool his props. He's staying healthy. He's playing at a great level. It doesn't matter if he's throwing to Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle. He's executing. There are plenty of quarterbacks that have talent around them and they fail to execute consistently. And going up against a wounded secondary of Philadelphia, there's a pretty good chance that Tua should be able to have a pretty big performance. Now, Vic Fangio, he is the godfather of the Fangio 6 defense, which has been influenced or has influenced half the NFL. The majority of defensive coordinators in the league right now are running some sort of Vic Fangio's defense. His defense hasn't really been all that great in big-time matchups this year. Like against the Buffalo Bills, they went up and down the field on Vic Fangio's defense, and you wonder if Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia are going to be able to do the same. Jalen Ramsey, he's going to be expected back to return, but not for this game. And when you look at Miami's secondary, I don't know how they're going to fare against one of the best receiving corps in the NFL with Buff Batman and Devonta Smith, and they just signed Julio Jones. Now, I don't know if we're going to see Julio in this game. I would love to see Julio Jones in this game, but maybe we don't see Julio Jones. Maybe we do, but regardless, Miami's secondary hasn't looked good this year, and I think that this is a good spot for the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts to get back on track when it comes to their passing attack. Now, the run defense for Miami has been pretty solid. You got Christian Wilkins, who is probably the most underrated defensive tackle in the league. He's really stout against the run. And you got my guy, DeAndre Swift, who's been going crazy for me on my fantasy team. So you guys know who I'm rooting for in this game. I'm going to be rooting for DeAndre Swift. I hope he has a big game. And I can't believe that he wasn't even a starting running back for the Philadelphia Eagles going into this season. Like, I forgot who the hell they had starting over DeAndre Swift, man. Like, DeAndre Swift is top 3, top 5 in the NFL in rushing yards per game. He's really good after the catch. He has really good hands coming out of the backfield, and I feel like he could be a big difference maker in this game for the Philadelphia Eagles if Jalen Hurts continues to struggle. The Miami Dolphins, this defense needs to play at a really high level because I do think that Jalen Hurts is still a top 3, top 5 quarterback in this game right now. And despite the fact that he had an off performance last week, I definitely feel with how the Dolphins defense has played at times against great quarterbacks, they could struggle in this game. Josh Allen was shredding this Vic Fangio defense apart a couple of weeks ago. And the reason why I keep bringing up that Buffalo Bills game is because it kind of reinforces the point that I just told you guys earlier when we first started this segment. The fact that the Dolphins don't play their best football in prime time concerns me in this game. Now, you may look at the Dolphins and you may say that they got a better team from a talent standpoint than what the Philadelphia Eagles have. That's debatable, but regardless of the point, they don't tend to play up to the level of talent that they have anytime they're facing a remotely elite team. The Buffalo Bills are considered to be an elite team going into that game all week. Like, Dolphins fans and many people in the media were praising the Dolphins, and they got humbled. And once again, people are praising the Miami Dolphins again. And are they going to be able to come away with the win? Or are they going to get humbled again? And are they going to remind us why they may not be the Super Bowl contenders that people in the media feel that they are? Like, yeah, they got the fastest offense in the league, but it's not like this offense is unstoppable. I mean, Sean McDermott and the Bills offense shut down this offense, held them to their lowest point total of the whole entire season, damn near. Same thing with the New England Patriots. So if the Patriots and the Bills can slow down this offense, you mean to tell me that the Philadelphia Eagles defense can't do the same? I mean, yeah, they are down multiple guys due to injuries, but there's still a lot of talent. You still got Hassan Reddick. I mean, nobody wants to see Jalen Carter when he's fully healthy. You got Fletcher Cox still. I mean, there still is plenty of talent on this Philadelphia Eagles defense despite the injuries that they suffered. I'm taking Philadelphia to win this game. At first, I went with the Dolphins. I really did, but the more I think about how this team performs and the bright limelights, the more I say, the Dolphins still got to prove it to me. The Dolphins got to prove to me that they're capable of knocking off an elite team, something that they have failed to do under Mike McDaniel this year. Anytime the Dolphins get put in a prove-it situation on Sunday Night Football or in the primetime game against a great team, they underperform. And maybe they play better in this game, but I think that Philadelphia ends up bouncing back. Like, something about the Dolphins just kind of deters me from really getting on the Miami Dolphins hype train fully. Like, I'm not saying this team isn't good enough to win the Super Bowl, but this team right now, to me, I'm not about to hop on the Miami Dolphins Super Bowl bandwagon until they can show me that they have what it takes to be the elite team. They struggled against the Buffalo Bills. They got blown out, and they barely beat the New England Patriots. So this is a team that kind of just has a primetime game problem, and I don't know how they're going to end up fixing it. Maybe they fix it in this game and they prove me wrong. We will see, but give me the Philadelphia Eagles with the win. 27-20 is my final score prediction for this game.